4 o'clock. Okay. 4 o'clock, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order tonight. To do the roll call, or Supervisor Wolfite here. Trustee Bowman is absent. Trustee Glass? Here. Trustee Sam?
Here.
Trustee Zeglin?
Present.
I'm here. Professor Barrington?
Here. Thank you.
Okay. Everyone can stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4 is public comments. Hi. Would you come up here?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So my name is Olivia Student. I'm the Government Grants and Outreach Manager at Clearbrook. We're an organization to serve individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities throughout Northern Illinois. We've been operating for about 70 years, so I just wanted to share our general programs and then how we serve Gila Township at the end. So we have residential placement, so we have what we call community integrated living arrangements. So those are essentially group homes. We have about 60 right now, for between 4 and 6 individuals to live and have the opportunity to go out on community outings. And they can go to like day programs during the day and then come back to home and they make really good friends with their roommates. We try hard that everybody gets along. And then we have several day programs. So the individual clients get to choose their activities throughout the day to really empower them to make their own choices. And we are, I kind of skipped ahead a little bit, operating in about 16 counties now. Most of those, our home-based services are a big part of what we do. Our 3 main counties are Cook, McHenry, and Lake. So we've been expanding more in the Lake County area over the past few years. And then we also have several therapies. So we have clinical, occupational, and speech therapy offerings. We have employment services that help these individuals with disabilities find good placements in the community where they're welcome and they're supported. And we always advocate for at least minimum wage, if not higher than that, to really show them that they belong in these communities. I touched on our day services, but our outings can range from going to a restaurant and learning how to order on their own and handling money, to going to a museum or a zoo. There's endless opportunities. We offer respite care for caregivers so that they can get a little bit of a break. We also have our children's program, so that's for the younger kiddos, as they're waiting for placement as they get older and diagnosed with whatever disabilities they may have. Let's see. Yes, and then our home-based services, which is the program that we applied for this year, that's where our staff will meet the clients where they're at. So this could vary from general therapy for an individual with a disability who is waiting for placement into one of our SILA homes, but they still need a little bit of support before a spot opens up for them, things like that. And then it can also be they just need some support to go out into the community. So we have our staff help them there, and Clearbrook tries to hire individuals that the client is already familiar with. So we may hire somebody and train them to work better with that individual so that they're still getting paid for their work. Because caretaking is hard, and it should be paid. So we try our best to do that. And this fiscal year, we served 23 clients from Gila Township with our home-based services. And before I end, I would like to share a story about some of our home-based clients. So Erin and her life partner, Eric, are living proof of the independence fostered by Clearbrook. With the support of our home-based services, they enjoy living independently in the community, working and sharing life together. Erin works as a receptionist at the Clearbrook Downers Grove office 2 days a week. The independence brings peace of mind to Erin's mom. She feels, and I quote, confident and secure about Erin's future, knowing the vital services provided by Clearbrook are in place. And then from Erin, she says, I love my job. I help when people come in for interviews, and I do the hiring package. And she takes great pride in being part of the team. So thank you for your time and for having me. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Did you bring any materials with you?
I brought a few flyers.
Okay.
I should grab more. It seems like more in my hand than I got here, and it's just,
Okay. That's great. And then if you could just leave it, if you have to leave it.
perfect. I'll use what I have.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice way to start a meeting. So we're going to start with old business, CLT Jawa Water Project. Just a couple updates and see if anybody want to discuss it. They provided a fact sheet for us that was put on our website, so that it is available. We also put it in the trustees box, so you should have it if you haven't seen it yet. It's in your box, so answering some questions. They haven't answered all the questions. I just emailed our attorney asking about, he wasn't sure about residents possibly having to, in the future, one of the comments you had is, are they going to be required to tap in the future? The attorney was going to look into that and some other questions. I emailed Bill about your questions, so we're getting there. The March 4th agenda has been published. We have on the agenda that they're going to do their presentation, and then the public comment will be following their presentation, so they can ask, instead of asking questions once they've been covered, they can ask questions after the presentation. And just wanted to open it up on this forum if anybody had any questions you wanted to discuss here before our March 4th meeting, or if there's anything that I can do to help provide you more information. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to drive through there and see the routes, and we've received a couple of emails with residents in support of it, in objection of it, so hopefully everybody's getting those too. I can print those out, or you can forward them just to make sure everybody has what Ted and I have as well.
So the only question I have, can Lake County trump us as far as saying, yeah, they propose this, but you're going down this route?
That's what we asked the attorney, and he hasn't gotten back to us yet. So he didn't believe so, but Kelly just reminded me when she came in. So I did send him an email, and I copied you on it and Ted on it as well, and I'll let you know.
But I just also want to note that the last email that we got from a resident was supportive of the right-of-way down Eagle Drive as opposed to Diamond Lake. But he had made a reference to the number of homes that would be impacted short-term on Eagle Drive was way under. So if you look at both sides of the street, it would be 28 homes.
Right.
So just want to make sure we're not
counting the side streets that have to go through Eagle Drive.
Well, Eagle Drive has been in and out. There's two accesses to Eagle Drive. There's one on Diamond Lake, and then there's one in.
I want to say it was Rick's email, and I think he made a reference to it's 9 homes on Diamond Lake and then something 11 to 15 on Eagle. Maybe he was only looking at one side of Eagle, but both sides would be impacted, and it's 28. So
On Eagle Drive?
yes.
You're familiar.
Okay.
So just, sorry. Sorry, guys.
Okay. I've actually gone door to door in that area. Not Eagle Drive yet. The road next to it, North Arrowhead Drive. And the most common response I've actually gotten is that people aren't aware that the project is happening, which was unexpected considering how many people showed up.
And we did do a second mailing to everyone.
Yes. Apparently there are still a lot of people there who aren't aware. Of the people who were aware of the project, The majority of responses I got there were they did not like it, and they wanted the Diamond Lake instead. A couple of them expressed concern about not knowing like the exact timeline, and there were actually also the second most common response was just neutrality, like they didn't have a strong opinion either way.
Just on the issue of being required to tap in, because I'm involved in another project right now in a different role. That is for new construction, is my understanding. So I don't believe it is existing construction. I believe it is new construction, which wouldn't be a concern anyway.
I believe that that's correct. In addition, this project has nothing. This is a Lake County project.
Right.
It's CLC Valley and Lake Zurich, so I don't see how the county can force.
Compel that.
We'll just get confirmation from the attorney, but I appreciate that. And also, we did receive a letter that will be, I think we'll probably put it on the website too, from the fire commissioner of Countryside, who covers that area in support of this project going through Arrowhead, saying it would be helping in case of a fire, it would be helping the community. So he wrote a letter in support of the project. Just to keep everyone up to date, and if there's anything else you wanted to discuss, this is a little bit more of an informal than the board meeting. So just
Okay.
Or you first.
I was just going to say, I did go to the Village of Lake Zurich meeting where they were approving ordinances that giving the village the right to negotiate and work with all the properties along the proposed pipeline. Part of that is the potential to negotiate for public easement and eminent domain. They don't, they listed, I mean, we talked a lot about that being the issue on Diamond Lake when you go east or west. They do have every single pin for Eagle Drive also listed. When I talked to the public works director, he did indicate that they don't expect they would need to go to those homeowners and get any easement or discuss anything with them, but they listed it in case. So they had like 200 plus parcels for the entire pipeline that were referenced. And I think they did say that along the entire pipeline, they're not expecting or did not see any structures that would need to be taken down. So I assume structures may also include shed. So when I talked to Mike Brown, maybe, he had said the issue with Diamond Lake Road was not just that you needed to have easements, but how close to the homes they would be through the center of people's backyards.
Village Administrator Ray Keller from Lake Zurich has requested a meeting for Friday, just to talk with us. So if anybody's interested, let me know, because then we need to make it a public meeting. And so if you wanted to attend that, please let me know so we can publish.
But yeah,
we couldn't do it.
We have less than $40.
So they can't attend it.
So Ray trustees can't.
Right. So if you have any questions you'd like me to ask Ray Keller and relay back to you, let me know.
2 can't attend.
2 can't attend. So
talking about the proposal of going through Eagle Drive, or
Yes.
would I be able to attend?
yes. And we can have one trustee with me. So if there's someone who's really gung-ho.
What time is the meeting on Friday?
Noon.
Is it here or is it
Here.
It's here.
It's here.
Drops?
I have the day off if that would be more convenient for you folks.
I don't know that Friday works for me. So.
Okay.
I'll do it. Yeah, that's Robert's doing it.
Robert, do you want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Okay.
And then, Bonnie, I don't know if you, I guess since this is a fairly less formal, do you have an opinion on the proposed route based on your insight?
I think the discussion is for those residents, and they are very vocal when they're unhappy, because I hear from them,
Yeah.
at one time a year, sometimes 2. And from what I'm seeing here,
people on Diamond Lake think you should go through Eagle Drive. People on Eagle Drive think you should go through Diamond Lake. So I think no matter which way this falls, somebody's going to be upset. And the only thing that I thought of, I heard at the meeting, they said a lot of the homes on Diamond Lake that they have to go through are vacant and not even occupied. And if that's the case, it would seem like that would be the least disruptive in terms of having angry homeowners.
Is that accurate though, that they're vacant or unoccupied?
I thought I heard one home out of the 9 was uninhabitable. So,
Yeah, so one of the 9.
yeah. But I think the other are. And then I guess the other note I would just make for those of us that are kind of still weighing is, as much as I feel for anywhere that disruption is going to fall, there is also part of me that thinks you bought property on Diamond Lake Road or that backs up to Diamond Lake Road. And I mean, it's like if you buy property on Route 22, right? Like you
have to assume that.
Yes, that at some point a main thoroughfare may need to be extended, and you may have some issues with what happens to your property as a result of that. So there's part of me that thinks, like, you did buy it on Diamond Lake Road, and there are only 9 folks on that, so what it's worth. 8, 9 properties.
Right. When you look at the trees and the berms and the environmental impact too. So, but they'll go over all that in the meeting. It will be on the agenda that we'll make a vote that day, but we can also table it until the next week. But in case, we felt strongly one way or the other, it will be an opportunity. I like to process information. I'm thinking probably the 11th would be better, but it is on the agenda. We could always table it until the following week.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I know it was brought up that everyone's, saying about this group, and they were saying, you guys speak for them. But I think that, you guys also speak for everybody in Lake Zurich.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you are kind of putting, those houses, but it's also like it's all of Lake Zurich is also.
Right.
So you speak for all of them.
So if there's higher costs or like lengthened timelines, that's going to impact the 40,000 people that live in Lake Zurich. Thank you. Fair. So,
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because you did say, that is our mission to take care of the residents. We take care of all the residents. Yeah.
Are the Diamond Lake residents Gila Township residents?
No.
Not Diamond.
No.
The Diamond Lake ones are on the other side of the road.
That's the way that subdivision is the back half belongs to Fremont Township and the front half belongs to Gila Township. Only, I think, 12 homes in that neighborhood are Fremont Township. The majority of the homes there are Gila.
Okay.
I think you have 91 homes and they have 12.
So those specific homes are Fremont though?
Without looking at a map, I don't know for sure.
No, none of the Fremont houses are in the proposed route.
Are they
Fremont houses are all to the north off of the
So
road.
we go, if you're familiar, for Indian Creek hits Diamond Lake Road, we go up to that commercial building that's right before the like buy here, pay here car dealership that's on the corner of.
That's not ours, though.
That's not ours. That office building right next to that, we have half of that, and Fremont Township has half of that.
So the Diamond Lake proposal, not the Eagle Drive proposal, is that Gila people or is that?
Yes, as long as it's on you're looking in my direction.
West side.
The west side.
West side.
West side, it's Gila Township. If it's on the east side of the road, it is Fremont Township.
Is it proposed which side?
Actually, it might be Vernon Township.
I think they were proposing on the east side of the road.
So that'd be the Vernon Township people? No?
No, it's proposed on the west side.
Right, because it's the homes on Arrowhead that back to Diamond Lake Road. So they have trees, mature trees, they have built up their properties to not clear the road. And so those are questions that could be answered without being replaced, where I have to.
Okay, so anything else?
So you'll give us a report then, Lori, of your meeting
Yes.
results?
Yes.
Okay.
That was one last thing. So I asked them before about liability for if something happens to the wells. I understand that we're going to take precautions to make sure that nothing bad happens to the wells, but like, if something does end up happening, do we have any insurances from them?
They said, yeah, it's in their fact sheet that they gave us that it has to be, they'd have to make sure that it was, the damage was because of the drilling or what they're doing, and they would cover it if they were liable for it. But it would have to be made sure that it just wasn't an old well that failed. Right. But that's a good question for them. But yeah, so we have that meeting next week. Anything else anyone wants to discuss? Okay, just trying to keep it. Okay. So number 6 is new business. We have the fiscal year 2027 social agency grant applications that we discussed in the health and wellness meeting, and asking Director Marks to go over the recommendations from the committee.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, we did have a suggestion, I think it's in everybody's packet, of kind of where we thought the grant should lie. We kind of went over them all in a lot of detail and spent a lot of time on it, but does anybody just going right off the bat have any questions on any of them? Are any of them concerning? Would you like me to explain, why we chose any specific? Yes.
What happened to pads? You getting nothing?
So I've had a problem with pads for a while, and I have been such a supporter of them because they are the only homeless shelter in Lake County. However, last year we had a big old problem with them, and all of our residents or anybody we sent there came back with negative comments. We sent an employee there to ask questions. She was turned away 3 times, and then when she finally got to speak with someone, she was like, "Can I please speak with the manager who is here?" And they went back, they talked a little bit, came back, and they go, "She's too busy." And they gave her a card. So she goes, "Okay." So she emailed them, and we never heard back.
I'm with you.
And
Yeah, thank you.
if you're not going to help our residents, you're not going to answer us.
I mean, it's the 3 times to reaching out to not hear any response.
I mean, she
if you don't support us,
physically,
we can't support you.
she physically went, and they are extreme. I'm extremely disappointed with them. I've been trying to have phone calls and stuff with them, but they don't get back to us, and they won't provide us with any email.
The total for what was suggested for fiscal year 27 is less than what we suggested for 2026. I was just curious as to why that is, because there are some agencies that looks like you're supporting, but not to the same degree that they requested.
So I would say that is the main reason that it's cut is I would say 2 of them. It's pads is a big one, and the second is going to be Emmaus House is not asking for as much. So with those 2, I feel like it really brings it down. Now, and we kind of thought, if we just because it's there doesn't mean we have to spend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we ended on.
Okay. Thank you.
Has anybody submitted? They're all 501c3?
They're all 501c3.
Do you take into consideration like Big Brothers and Big Sisters? I think they're utilizing community center space, correct?
That's on pause until September.
And they actually didn't ask for anything this year.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going through some restructuring, and so I think they're just trying to get all their ducks in a row before they submit anything.
Do you also ask how much each group serves people in our township, like the next city?
We have it. It's all in their application.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea, do you mind if I?
No, go ahead.
So, like a Safe Place serves 68 residents. Center for Enriched Living serves 15. Clearbrook serves 23. Emmaus House serves 38 families. Erie Family 26. Joni's Closet is all of our residents. They didn't give a specific number. Mikasa 70. The North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic did 33 hours. Special Recreation Association did 39 residents. Wings did 3, and Zacharias did 22. So, yeah, and we also take into account salaries and making sure the money goes to the right places.
And the other thing that we really talked about is we have really good relationships with some of these organizations. Like we'll just take the first one, like a Safe Place. we have a lot of meetings with them. We have a lot of contacts over there, so when we need something from them, we call them directly and kind of, get our people out immediately. So we have that with a few.
No pets.
Not with pets.
Interestingly enough, the homeless couple that lived in the Walmart parking lot?
Yep.
I did a lot to help them, and he specifically told me that the patch lady that the police department had go out there, she was rude, she wasn't helpful, and when they said that they didn't want to go into a shelter, she was demeaning and just...
We got a lot of negative feedback. And so it was just kind of like...
We don't wish them well. We just want to support the ones that are serving.
Yeah.
So why are we giving more than what they requested?
So some of these got their funding cut. And so it kind of feel like...
Wouldn't they requested more then?
Well, some of the funding was cut after they had requested money.
Yeah.
Are we setting a precedent then for subsequent years by going up?
I don't think so.
Maybe.
No,
But all of the ones that we did do that for, it's because they need it. And I know that they need it because, they have reached out to us in other ways, indicating, a safe place lost $2 million. Zacharias House reached out to us, and they are also collecting right now stuffed animals. They collect bears specifically, and it's because they have seen an increased number of kids. So we want to make sure that the places, especially for, Zacharias House and a safe place, that they are getting what they need.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? We're not voting on this today, but we just wanted to bring it to your attention.
And I'm free if anybody has a question afterwards or, anything like that. You can always email me or ask. Nakasa did give us a very beautiful kind of vending machine type thing for Narcan. That if we get a little bit of a break, I'll get it and show you guys. We're going to put it up down here. So that's just a side note. They provided us with Narcan for a very long time, but now it's like a little box that distributes it. So.
Trustee Gladys, did you have something?
Okay. So this wasn't in our previous discussion, but I see the Stormwater Management Commission.
It's on our agenda.
It'll
be in the report.
Okay, cool. I noticed that they were talking about grants, so I wasn't sure if that was part of this business.
No.
Nope. Okay. Never mind then.
Okay, thank you. B was Trustee Bowen wanted to bring up discontinuing the plastic recycling program. And since he's not here, I think we should table it until he is here. Unless anyone else has strong opinions another way. Okay. New business number C is review of bids received from auditing service. And I'd like to turn that over to our finance director and Trustee Sam.
So I'll start. As part of the budgeting process, we reached out to 4 different auditing firms.
Actually, 5, right? One no response.
Right, correct. Yeah. We reached out to 5. We received pricing for 4. Yep. Evans Marshall Pease is our current auditing firm. We have done for quite some time at this point, and after having discussions with Trustee Sams, we had decided that, just for best practice, to get a new new set of eyes on things, we should look into going with the other firms. And then I will pass this over to Trustee Sams, and he can kind of get his expert opinion as to why, or his recommendations in one.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ted. Ted, I and Lori all worked on this, so from the standpoint of coming up with these proposals and reviewing them, I will go back to Ted's comment on Evans, Marshall, and Pease. I mean, they're the only firm that sent us a 2-page letter and said, here's our fees. And nothing as far as promoting their firm, background, etc. So we took the bare minimum approach of, for lack of a better term, here's our fee proposal. Compared to the other 3 firms that we're talking about now. Baker Tilly was the other firm that opted not to submit a proposal, and I'm sure we're too small for them. So the fee range we'd be looking at, they probably were not interested. So with going with that, then it brings us to Lauterbach, Amon, Southern Fox, and Sickage. That spread, and everybody got the fee covered? All right, so there's a 50% spread between the lowest and the highest. What I did is take a look at what they're going to do and how they address either township in our proposal, and then really looking at it as the number of hours that they anticipated putting in. Within that, Lauterbach and Amon, being the lowest, they had 66 hours in their proposal. And of that 66, as far as looking at our systems, etc., and getting background, and looking at our system of internal control, that whole bit, what I call the planning phase, they allocated 8 hours, which to me seems awfully low. The other then, as far as Southern Fox, their proposal, and these are things that I look at, that maybe obviously because of my background, looking at it, and they pull things in here that reconcile accruals for payroll and compensated absences. We're not on accrual basis, we're on a cash basis. And it just tells me that if you pay attention to the detail, perform search for unreported liability. We're on a cash basis. Like I said, accrued payroll, compensated absences, all the stuff that was not in our request for proposal because we're doing it on a cash basis. So we got a boilerplate proposal submitted to us, and if you're not going to pay attention to what you're putting in there, that bothers me. And then Sickage was the highest. Right? So you go 10,000, you go 14,000 for Southern Fox. Southern Fox hours, I think, came in about 70. If I took their blended hourly rate in their proposal, it looks to be about 70 to 80 hours. And then Sickage being the highest now at 16.5, we needed clarity from them, and Ted and I called them and saying, from the standpoint of where you're coming from, where is this, and really, is there any room to go that we could get this somewhat reduced if you were close? And they basically came back with a smaller concession, about $55. So we're down to 15,000 with them now. But if I look at their hours, they are 100 hours, right? Their planning phase and review of internal controls, etc., 24 hours. So they're going to spend 3 days getting background. And Susan, you and I, when Ted sit down, just to go over to the community center, right? What did we spend? 3 hours? Just on a particular topic with it. Yeah. But to get some semblance of what's going on and where our controls need to be and where they're not, and by department, I think that's significant to what we're looking for as far as recommendations for improvement and strengthening our internal control. I sense from what they're looking at that they're going to be spending the time to do that, and their time then to come back and do the audit at year end is 60 hours compared to 36 with these other firms. So it's significantly different. As I sat down with Ted, going back to my days of I was doing this, and he can attest to it. I mean, I was going to be at least 100 hours, right, in doing it, and that's from 6 years ago. But at least doing, when I say doing it right, things obviously could have changed. But to do it thoroughly and to give a good product, I mean, Sickage seemed to mirror that our scenario. So, with all that said, right, you've got this list. I will also tell you, within their proposals, you look at the number of townships they do, right? Sickage, Lauterbach and Amon does 23 townships. Lauterbach and Amon, the certificate of achievement that we talked about, that we're not going to go down that route, but they tout themselves as being able to do that. Southern Fox, 8 townships, right? And then Sickage, 3. So but weird with that, Sickies has got a lot of municipal clients, so they may have more in villages and school districts and cities than they do in townships. But the public sector experience is there with them. So I dealt with them in Hawthorne Woods, and I thought they did a very good job. So all that said, we need to take a look at and say there's a spread here, and I'm not the only person that's making a decision. And I think the dollars and cents, if you look at it, if you want a commodity, which we could go down that road and have a commodity, and I think that's what you're seeing from past is the commodity price is out there. If you want a little bit more than that, then that you're going to pay for that. You get what you pay for. So, good.
If I could just add, having Doug lead this has been extremely helpful, and thank you for all your time, your effort putting this in. Something I discovered in this role as compared to the trustee role, you really, can't. You really need a trusted, a well-run firm to do your numbers. I mean, it's something we're spending other people's money. This isn't our money. It's not my company. We're spending taxpayer dollars, and we have to make sure we're spending them correctly and they're reported correctly, and everyone knows what's going on. So spend extra dollars to make sure everything's in order, or if we should be changing something to make it a little clearer or to make it more fair, it's worth it. I just think I agree with that 110%.
So,
in addition to the current audit services, I think the idea of just trying to bring in a fresh perspective, were there other reasons that we were thinking we may want to change our audit firm?
well, I think two things. Fresh perspective is naturally, I was always an advocate, right? And I'll just to take the other side, that if you're doing a good job, why do you want to switch, right? If that's a good firm and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's when I would lose a client because it's just, we're just going to rotate, because it's right. But I understood that from, that was my risk if there was a turnover and whatever it may happen. But to get a fresh perspective, and I think advocating, and you've heard me in prior years when Lori would say, what about this audit fee, Doug? And I think, it's so cheap. I think I don't want to say it's a bargain, but it was a scenario that you get what you pay for. And as things went on, right, it's not, I shouldn't say, it meets our legal requirements. We're able to submit that report, but do we get more than that out of it? I always ask for a management letter, and that they would never issue it until I went back and said, where is it? Right?
True.
And then all of a sudden I get 2 comments. Right? And it's like, okay, but they're thinking, whoa, where are they coming from? How do they know to ask for that? So that type of thing, and I think a fresh perspective to look at our systems, where we're going. And does that take more time? Yeah, it does.
And I like the schedule they put out in their proposal too, which is in your packets.
Yeah, you'll see. Yeah.
So to clarify, Doug, you're recommending...
My recommendation would be Sickies, but I'm one voice, so you guys have to weigh what you got there.
No.
So this will be something we'll be voting on in our March board meeting.
Right.
Just brought it up for discussion and take a look at it if you have any questions. Okay.
Yeah. Anything else I didn't cover? I covered too much?
I want to know what Doug's passionate about.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your time you spent on that as well. Appreciate it. Okay, so number 6D is the fiscal year 2027 budget. So it's in your packet, and I'm going to ask Administrator Marciniak to take us through that.
Yeah, so we're for those who have been through this process before, we're proposing to do this process a little bit differently, as opposed to going down line by line like we have in the past, because this is just a preliminary budget, and the committees have gone through them separately. we'll just look at high level, point out some major changes, and then just move on. If you have any questions, let me know, and we can drill as deep as you'd like, but I just plan on going through this.
If you could just let people know that what the next step is for formalized.
Yes, so the budgeting process is at the March board. We will approve a preliminary budget, which will allow us to pay bills in April. We don't receive the levy from the county until the last week in March. So these numbers are preliminary pending the county numbers.
March 4th or March 11th?
March 11th.
The March.
Okay.
Did I say March 4th?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the March 11th, regularly scheduled March 11th board meeting. We will approve the preliminary budget to allow us to pay the bills in April. At the April COW, we will approve the final budget, in which we have to post for 30 days before we can. The budget has to be public for 30 days before we're allowed to vote. So a lot of that will depend on when we get our final numbers from the county. After that 30 days, it'll be at a board meeting where we'll approve the final budget.
So it'll either be in May or June?
Yeah, depending on when we receive the numbers from the
Just to give you an idea. So this is an idea, but it's not finalized.
And these numbers?
Because always, at least the prior couple of years ago, we were always dependent on getting final notice of our tax levy.
Yeah.
Have you gotten that?
No, we won't get that till at the end of March at the earliest.
Okay.
So that's why we can't approve a final. We're not going to approve the final budget yet because we don't know our levy numbers.
Okay.
But we will know by the April meeting.
Presumably.
Theoretically.
Okay.
In theory, yes. Like dealing with Lake County, I wouldn't, but yes. So, okay. So, just going through the revenues here. Page one, property tax is what we the levy request. Just going down to. So if you may recall, our levy included a 3% levy increase over last year. So we did reduce the ask for general town, and we moved some more money into permanent roads, which we'll see here in a couple minutes.
Oh, sorry, but
Yeah.
I mean, interest income.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm understanding this right? Our projected, this says spend, but that means projected income.
Projected revenue, correct.
You're projecting $136,000. Am I reading it right?
Correct.
And we're going to drop it to 75.
Yes, because that's what we budgeted for last year. This number is probably low, but I'd rather budget low on revenue than budget high and not get it.
Okay.
So could we, we can increase this number to whatever you'd like, but with interest rates lowering.
Oh,
we.
But that's a 50% drop.
Yeah.
Sure.
I agree.
Yeah, and we can.
But that's, okay, I just want to understand the projected spend.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
The first line I'd like to point out is on page 2, 101, 520. We have, you can see our projected spend is $30,000, and that is, I'm sorry, I just mistyped this.
This is great, so it's hard for us to see.
Building maintenance?
But
Yeah,
building
building maintenance. I'm sorry, I don't know.
You're dropping it to 20,000?
No, that was a typo. It's supposed to be 30. And the reason for that is because we're consolidating expenses. We're no longer, we used to split our building maintenance charges, but for the sake of ease in accounting and calculating based off of just our arbitrary percentage, it's all going to come out of 101 times 20 going forward. Right?
So can you give at least perceptions, at least a second in my mind, overview on salaries? What we've talked about, at least what I'd like to believe is we're going to have a COLA increase and some merit, whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to be, the COLA increase is 3%, right? So go to your first line item, salaries.
What page are you on?
101.
On page 2. You're projecting $225 for this year, and then we're going to 265. That's an 18% increase. And that's one of the lower ones as I go through here. Some of these are 30, 40%. And what am I missing?
So some of that is going off of what we budgeted versus actuals. And so there is some extra money in all of our.
Let's go back. Now, this projected spend, that's for the fiscal year. That's not where you're at right now.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there are a couple new hires that we did talk about.
Not in this department specifically, but yeah. So
Okay.
that is some of them, right? Like the community center has new positions.
Okay.
The assessor department has new positions.
So to Doug's point, there's $40,000 increase in what we think we're going to spend next year versus where we're going to land for this particular department. What's covered in that department? So there's no new hires in there?
In our department, in administration for 101-500,
Yeah.
that would be myself, 40% of Jessica's salary, Mariana, and Kathy.
Okay. And is part of that also because the projected for this year may be low because we weren't allocating people?
No, Jessica's
For the
salary.
full year?
Jessica's salary has always been allocated, but Mariana's position had changed, and there was an increase in salary when we hired her versus what we have hired her replacement.
It didn't take into account the insurance and the 12%.
No, that would be health benefits.
Okay. Well, I have more to go on, but the salary thing is getting me with it.
Yeah,
hopefully you have
and I have
explanation.
I have salary sheet. I if you want to meet after, I can show you the salary sheets that explain.
Because my mind is thinking 3 to 5%.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm in double digits throughout.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, and I can break that. I can run that through.
Okay.
Okay, so if we want to go to
For page 3 on the officer needs report, why are we budgeting so much higher than the actual projected spending? Because it's only 6,000, but we're budgeting 20,000.
so you're talking about 101. No.
101.5.
The last line.
549. Okay, so that is PPRT, which is the personal property replacement tax. That's through the county. That's essentially individuals who pay their taxes late. The county gives us money, and then we have to redistribute that to the other municipalities within our township. And so that's not an expense; it's just a pass-through.
Oh, okay.
So again, we don't know what that number is going to be, so we can.
It's just kind of arbitrary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in some of these, we go through like education, right, which is 101, which is 537. So we spent 3, we're cutting it to 2. So, is there a reason we're not going to a particular event?
I attended additional trainings this year that I just don't.
Right, good answer. And then drop to 101,544, and on the annual audit, 8,000.
Well, we haven't yet discussed on what we...
So that'll be adjusted.
Exactly.
Okay.
Again, these are preliminary numbers that are free to change multiple times between now and that big S. So, the big one that I did want to point out is the first on page 4, 101,565.
Yeah, the grant fund.
IT, the 65,000 to 80,000?
Exactly, yep. We are looking at our IT vendor, which would be potentially more expensive than what we have been paying, and then we're looking also at our new website provider. So Again, this number was a number to put in. It's likely going to change between now and final approval, but we did put some preliminary extra money in there.
And we did take money out of printing as well. So we took $10,000 out of printing the newsletter. We're going to put it into the website.
And then 101,572 community events. We increased that by 20,000 because we are looking at doing a mobile dental clinic.
A mobile what?
Dental clinic.
I gave you. I'll talk about that in detail.
Yeah, and so Sarah can, if you guys are interested, but basically we have to front the $20,000 for the first year. Year two, there are quite a few grant opportunities that we could take advantage of that could help either mitigate or reduce that cost for next year. But those grants require statistics, and we can't get those statistics until we complete a year. So the year one cost for that is $20,000. So that is the for that line. That's the.
And they'll be coming 2 days a month, every month.
I did pass out those. I have more. If anybody else wants to look at it, but I don't know if this is a now thing or if this is a later when I do my thing. I don't know if anybody would like one of these. I did give these to you guys at the very beginning. Should I talk about it now or do you want me to wait?
Yeah.
You guys have one?
I'll share with Robert.
And these are a little bit different than the ones that I gave you guys because I did include the grants.
Oh, okay, great.
So I will give them to you guys as well. Here we go. I don't think I have another one for you guys. But basically the big thing with this is that we would be partnering with Endeavor Health. And like they kind of touched upon already, they would come out 2 days a week. They can potentially see anywhere from 7 adults is the low end, and then the high end would be 25 children that they could see. They would come out 2 days a month, and then they do, full preventive.
2 days a week? Yeah, I said 2 days a week.
2 days a month. They would come out 2 days a month. They do full preventative care, cleanings, x-rays, exams, sealants, anything that has to happen in a clinic or in a lab. They would go and refer to a specialist. Usually it's at no cost, or it's at like a fourth of a cost of what a private place would do. They've connected with a dental school, Midwestern Dental, so they have a good partnership there. So they don't do any like implants, braces, anything like that. But like I said, if they do have to refer out, it's usually at a fourth of the cost. So the big need here is, you have to be 200% under the poverty to be able to qualify, or you have to be on Medicaid. There are no Medicare dentists that are within Gila Township right now.
Can you remind me what the poverty level is right now?
200% under, it would be, well, it varies because if it's just one person.
Yeah, versus household.
Yeah, versus household. So there is a chart.
Okay.
I don't have that chart.
Okay. No worries.
So they have a $40 flat copay at the beginning. They only accept cash at this point, and they do have a very strict no-call, no-show policy that if you have a no-call, no-show, you are suspended for a year. So our money would not be going, to anybody who's not making these. And it isn't one of those where, okay, they're not here, can we get that money back? It's just a flat. We give them the $20,000, and then they decide where it's needed. They would bring their clinic over here, and actually they bring it by ambulance, and then they would leave it for 2 days. They need a power hookup, bathrooms, and just room. So we were thinking about maybe the Pavlon area. All they would require from my staff would be kind of eligibility. We do all the screenings, and then they handle everything else. They handle the money, the scheduling, everything.
So are we capped at 20,000?
That is what, for 2 days, that is what we could get is...
But we won't do more than that. If we got a tremendous response and had more than 168 places, are we done?
No. So this is,
So we could go over 20,000.
no, so we just give, we are capped at 20,000 because that's
Okay.
what our agreement is.
Okay.
Now, if they come back next year and they're like, you guys, the wait list here is insane because you have to be an Eagle Township resident as well. So if they're like, we suggest coming another day, then we would go back and discuss like, okay, this is what we could do and this is, the money that they would request from us. So, like, I don't know if we could even get another day from them because they are already serving Palatine and Elk Grove, Wheeling, and Schaumburg.
Yeah, I guess my point is that we budget 20,000, and if there's a need for 30 or 40,000 of people that could come, we're done when we get 20,000.
Nope. So they will see as many people.
Yes, we are done.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we are done at 20,000.
Our give is maximum of $20,000.
Okay.
Yes,
Any further.
but they won't stop seeing people if like
But our financial commitment stops at 20,000.
stops at 20,000. Yes, but
That's what the question.
oh, okay, yeah, but we're not capped at people.
And just to be clear, you feel comfortable that there are 168 patients per year?
Yes.
That we would need to see?
Yes.
So we could fill that?
That's a very common thing for us, for Lisa and Lena to be hearing about our dentists for Medicare.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did reach out to a couple different entities to see, like, would anybody be interested in this? One of them was Liberty Lakes, which is our low-income housing. They said they are interested in it. We reached out to Zurich Meadows, and they serve, seniors. They're interested in the District 95. Okay. So we were kind of really going off of the seniors that, are on Medicaid and Medicare, and then we also were going off of young adults who are struggling to find employment with benefits, and then low-income families. We really want to start establishing that good oral care now with children.
Yes.
So what we're hoping to do is to get some of these grants. So on the very last 2 pages, we did find 2 grants already, and I kind of just broke them down a little bit of what they would need from us, and like Ted touched upon, they would need data from us. We can't apply for grants ahead of time. So these are just 2 that we found. So we're hoping to find some more.
I love the idea.
But yeah, I'm sorry. It's 20,000. And then we are hoping to get grants to cover the rest of it, so that we don't have to keep paying.
And the cost per resident is how much?
$40 per visit. Now, there could be times where they might have to pay more if they need an implant, but that's usually at like 25% of the cost that they would pay going to any other clinic. So,
I think it's amazing.
yeah, and then depending on how many interns they get, how many dentists are there, that kind of does shift a little bit. And again, if it's children, they can see a lot more children.
So that's why we increased that from 5,000 to 20,000.
Yes.
And it would just be a one-time.
And we're not involved in the assessment process as far as being eligible.
No, we are.
Endeavor's doing it?
No. So we figure out if they are eligible to do it.
Well, how are you going to do that? Are you going to see tax return? What are you going to look at?
Well, so we kind of already do that now with EAGA. They have to qualify for that, and so we get a lot of their information already. So it would be, we'd ask for their tax returns and their monthly, 3-month monthly statements.
So you'll verify all that?
Yep. We already kind of, like I said, we already kind of do it with the EAGA,
Okay.
so it wouldn't be a big stretch. I think a lot of our people would probably come from that list.
But a big stretch is 167 people. Is that going to, time-wise, you can do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've got 2 new employees. It's pretty amazing. And again, it's one of those where if they want it, they will provide us the documentation to be able to. I mean, you can give me, your tax and stuff returns, and I can figure out real quick if they're going to be eligible. So.
Would the unhoused folks that we see throughout the township, would they be eligible? How would they?
So that's an interesting question, and I think that would be a question for us when we're writing up the policy on this to see if we would want, if we if that would be okay. Because it would be hard if they do have a license and it's like, well, actually you are from, like, let's say Palatine, then it's like, well, you're saying you're on how, that one's kind of tricky. That one's a little tricky.
They would probably have a hard time coming up with the $40 anyways.
They might.
I would think that we're going to see fewer of those people and more of like the Liberty Lake, Jody's Closet kids that they know about in the school district.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the budget.
Sorry.
I just want to make sure we stand that. So therefore is the increase. It's one time. We'll look for grants for the future, but we need to start and we'll be serving our residents. So thank you for the research and everything. I think is important.
Okay. So moving on, that was the last kind of bullet point that I had to read.
What about the next one? Employee lunches, $30,000.
Yeah, I was curious about that one too.
That's the employee lunches. That's the note for 101573. Town hall improvement is 101585.
The GL code and then the descriptions underneath it. So $1,000 for lunches and holiday parties. So town hall improvements is that $30,000.
Oh.
And that's the carpet and paint. Got it.
Yeah, we're not going to tomorrow.
Yeah, so we and this is a new line item, the employee luncheons and holiday parties, because we always put on here miscellaneous, and it should be a line item. It should be open to the public. This is what we're spending. This is what we do. It's not a lot for the amount of employees we have, but it's a start to just kind of be more transparent.
So this town hall improvements is the staircase, stuff of that nature?
No, that would be a capital improvement. This would be like we're looking at recarpeting or reflooring and repainting the administrative.
The building is over 20 years old with the same carpeting and paint from the original.
Yeah. So
it's just out, and we have bids.
And so on the next page, the 1016. 100, that is like the stairway.
Exactly. Yeah. So for the we have $1 million in capital improvements that kind of cover any large expense, and we use this line item to help protect some of our fund balance at the end of the year. You'll see at the next board meeting some resolutions to approve protecting that money, and so that $1 million is.
Is that also where like the automatic doors and the sidewalk for the emergency exit would fall under?
No, those came under town hall.
Okay.
They're both. Okay, Fund 102, that's the elected officials. We didn't really.
Is there any other questions before we move on? What?
Yeah, moving to page 6. That's the elected officials. There's really nothing to note there, so move on if that's agreeable.
We just moved the assessor's pay, which we haven't had in a while.
Yeah. So, good. 103 is Sarah's department,
which is page
8. Going back to your comment, Doug, on salaries. We now have another full-time employee, and that will have been here for the full year. We had some employee absence, vacancies, so that's
okay.
that. Sarah, does a great job keeping her budget pretty flat. Really, anything more to discuss there? Unless there's any other questions, we can go ahead and.
What's the anomaly in the 25-26 activity for salary? It's like we had 24-25, we had budgeted 245, we spent 144, and then if you look at 25-26, it looks like the original budget was 250. Activity, is that just like year to date, and then the projected is kind of looking ahead? Because I'm seeing the 106,000.
Yeah. So.
Am I interpreting that right? 25-26 activity is just like what's been accrued to date.
You are, but that number is low.
This is from October. If you look at the top left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
misupdated.
disregard that column. Got it. Thank you.
Good question.
Great point. Okay, so then I'd like to jump to page 11. Which is the community center.
This is all revenues.
Yeah. So page 11 is the revenue for the community center. If we go to page 12.
So by 11, we're dropping $25,000 in summer camp?
Yeah, part of that is because the way the fiscal year breaks down, the funds come in now, but it's for next year. So the summer camp revenue spans 2 years.
So registration for summer camp was a couple weeks ago, so they've already paid into this year, for this summer,
Okay.
in this current
The
budget.
accrual process.
Yeah.
We've heard a little bit about that.
But
It's all online.
I mean,
But it's all online.
yeah. Okay.
So I did want to point out on page 12, senior program recoveries, rather, not senior camp, 105,411. We are dropping that by $25,000, not because we're projecting a loss in revenue, we're just reallocating it to meal recoveries, 105,411. So we took $25,000 from senior programs and moved them to meal recoveries, just to better reflect
Wait, I'm sorry. They're both 411. Which one? 411.
Well, I'm sorry, 0.01 and then to 0.03.
Okay.
So 411.01,
Yeah.
dropped
We
from
need
100.
that print these with the colors. This is too hard to see.
And the reason for that is our programming, the programming that involves meals. We're just putting all that nutrition together, and it's going to be much cleaner, especially on the expense side, because 15-524 is the nutrition expense, and it should all just be cleaner.
You said you moved to 25,000 from.
Right, and it's not 25,000 in that. Right,
Mm-hmm.
we have a more accurate estimate of what the meals are going to be for the next year, and so it's not 25. Even though we decreased the programs 25,000, we didn't. We only increased it by 24,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
And are you going to be increasing the cost of these meals next year?
Not on the end, yes and no. So yes, anybody that's, because we are increasing already the amount of people that are taking things to go because they're bringing in dinners, they pay for that. So yes, on the end, they pay $1 for anything to go. And also for vegetarian or gluten-free. And we've already seen a change in our expenses on that, like how that is even things off is so much better. And then also on the event meal, we've increased.
And then on the expense, you'll see an uptick in the nutrition, and that's because we're looking at increasing the number of days in which we do the nutrition program, which is line item 105 to 524.
And the salary changed from 550 to 660.
Two additional.
Yeah, that's 2 additional full-time employees.
Okay.
That was the nutrition expert that you were getting, right?
Correct. Nutrition and then a program person as well.
Did you find anybody?
No, we actually just started with
We'll do that in your report.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Got to keep it.
Yep.
We're doing budget.
Okay, so really then the only other expense that I'd like to call out is on page 15, 105-585 grant project. We received a $100,000 grant from Representative Syed as part of the appropriations at the state level, so it's not technically a grant. It was built into the state budget. The issue with that is we don't know when we'll see the money, but after I hijacked the meeting, or I introduced inserted myself rather into a meeting with Representative Ed and Bonnie. We had talked about that, and well, with grants, you can't spend the money before you get you can't spend any money before you receive the grant. That's not how this is going to work. So it can be a reimbursement. So we were looking at
the reimbursement.
I'm sorry?
Did you provide for the reimbursement, the revenue, anyway?
No, because we don't know when we're going to get it.
It could be next.
It could be 2-3 years from now. So we have.
Shouldn't we put an offsetting now? I mean, if we might get it this year, right? And, and then if we don't get it, then your revenues are going to fall shy, and then you just up it again next year and carry it forward.
So we know we're going to have the expense. We don't know when we're going to get the revenue. So
But if we don't put it in this year, how are we going to remember to do it next year? I think it should be in this year and then just move it to the following year.
Is it a reimbursable grant?
Yes.
It's not a grant. That's what I'm saying. It's a part of the budget. It's not. So it's not like the DECO grant going to
right.
Like we can have the expenses now, and we'll just get the money whenever we get it.
If and when?
No. It's definitely in the budget. So it was definitely approved. We're for sure going to receive the money. I don't know that we need to account for the revenue because it's it might not be 3 years from now. So we can continue to put the revenue in just as a placeholder if that's how you like the budget. But it's.
So why are we showing the expenditure? Would we be doing this if we didn't get the grant?
We would.
We would?
We moved it up because we received the grant.
Okay.
What is that money we're going to be spending the grant money on?
Yeah, so it's renovating the front few rooms in the community center, expanding closet space, adding a retractable wall in between their main, their front card room area and their main presentation room.
We're creating flexible spacing, so it could be one large room, or it can be 2 individual rooms and accounting for the AV and lighting in there as well.
Okay.
I think the money should be accounted for, though, as revenue.
No, the thing is, we're cash basis. This is going to be years. I think we got to go into this with eyes wide open. If we're going to do this regardless, and the other side is it's going to come in, not in our same fiscal year, though. Is what you're telling me.
We don't know.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely. After speaking with Representative Syed, there's municipalities that have been waiting years for their money. So
we have to decide that we're going to spend this money, right? And then if it comes back, otherwise we're still going to do this. This project is not grant driven.
Exactly.
It's an aside, right? More or less.
The only thing I would say is if it could come in 4 years, that could be a totally different board, and you might want to at least have it just keep rolling over in the budget so that people know that money coming in was earmarked for this and not to spend on something else.
So we would definitely do that for an expense, right? We do that every year with expenses. We save money for trucks because we want to make sure we have the money in our accounts, but we're spending money down from our bank account. So projecting a revenue source, if we just, we could put $80,000 or $100,000.
We're doing that with senior recovery anyway.
Can't you make
forecasting that we're going to get.
But that's within the same fiscal year.
Right, exactly. And we know we're going to get something for senior recovery, right? We're projecting out a year.
Right.
I don't know. I wouldn't project that we're going to receive $100,000 this year.
So do you know that it's going to be $100,000 though?
Do I know what's going to be?
The amount.
The amount that...
Yes, it was
So if you budget for that, and then you don't get it, and you have it earmarked in the budget, projected reimbursement from the state, and you don't get it because the state is delayed, then you just roll that over to the next budget, and then you just roll it over to the next budget. So at least when they get $100,000 back, it's not like, oh crap, we won the lottery, what are we going to buy? We know that money was for... Yes, we know that it was to replenish what we've spent here.
So what do we get? We're not going to. The money's been spent. Right? We've already did our project. So
but it's like you're paying a loan back.
Yeah, but we've taken current expenditures to do that, right?
Money going from one pocket to another, truly, because taxpayers are paying for it here or paying for it there. It's not like it's a big deal. But do you want $100,000 coming in and the next supervisor, if it's not Lori, which will be Lori, but if it's not, like the next supervisor's like, hey, look at this, I got $100,000. What are we going to buy? Or do we want the
How do you track that this is supposed to be coming? Like, right there, I assume that there's a function that we're using that says we're expecting $100,000 from the state. We might not put it in this year's budget, but it's documented so that, Ted, if you're gone, Mariano's gone, 2 years from now when it comes in, someone will know what that $100,000 is for.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to just write a blank check for, it will be documented in our reimbursement what it's for. Because it has to be approved in the appropriations at the state level.
But with our internal tracking. So that if...
Yeah.
We can put it under miscellaneous income.
Well, you're not really counting on the income, but you're noting what the income is going to be when it comes in.
Well, we have to be realistic, right? If we're not going to get it.
I know, but what I think Kelly's bringing up is just if there's a turnover in our office staff, if Mariana leaves and you move and something happens.
So then money comes in, what are you going to earmark it for? It's going to be for current operations when it comes in, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
there's nothing to...
Right. It's all in the same bucket anyway.
Right.
Right.
So when we get it that year, if we anticipate we're going to get it...
I mean, I do agree with you, though. Like, yeah, so... I don't... We can do it either way. It's not going to change anything. It's just our revenue then will come in less than what we're projecting.
Yeah,
so,
I guess what I'm concerned about is, would we do this if we didn't get this grant? And you're saying yes.
We were already planning on doing it,
yes,
and then this came along.
Yeah, correct. So...
Has this been approved in a board vote to do?
Yes.
Well, the only thing we've approved so far was the architect, the architectural drawings.
I think way back.
Well, we wouldn't have had a dollar amount to approve.
We did know, because we did when we had the first bid, we brought that in.
Well, we'll have to double check.
Let's circle back on this and see where we are on this, if we need to get board approval to make sure that it's a go. And we can communicate via email.
Okay.
And I trust Doug's judgment on the finance. I trust your suggestions on what would be best for the township to do as our finance chair.
Okay, so if we want to just jump to page 16, we now enter the assessor's department. Okay, the first thing I'd like to discuss is the salaries. Sorry, I thought we included the color. So,
It's really, really light.
It's $450,000.
Right under the miscellaneous income.
Yeah. So when Bonnie and I have been speaking on her budget, she is looking at hiring a new full-time commercial deputy to do the commercial evaluations, and then that included some. Bonnie, do you want to discuss this?
Sure. After our talks today, though, between you, Lori, and I think I have it budgeted for $450. I'd like to actually drop that to $435 because I did have some padding in that number, and I don't think I'm going to need that much.
So we're going from $290 to $435.
Well, again, this is the first year my office has been fully functional again in about 4 years. So I have hired, this year alone, I hired a new full-time field person. I've hired one high school, and I have one college person doing more work at a lower rate than hiring a full-time person to do it. And
So we're moving we were paying previous assessor out of this fund, but now it's going to elected officials. So the elected officials fund is going to be higher because we haven't paid out of that fund.
So we should be probably more looking at the 350 that was in the original budget last year to 435 instead of the 290.
But again, I wanted to increase that to 435.
What was, I'm drawing a line at the outside contract.
Activating.
We'll get that in here.
Yeah,
That wasn't part of these actual numbers up here, right?
no, that was not salaries.
So these are actually people that were here in the salary.
Yes.
So to give you just a big picture, last year, before I started, we had one full-time field guide, we had the senior clerk, we had a Maya, and then we had a part-time person. Since I started, I hired another full-time field person. I hired a high school student. I hired a college student that works remotely to do some computer stuff at a lower rate. And I have an opening where I haven't hired yet because I haven't found the right person for the commercial deputy. So this is the first time since John Barrington was alive that we have had full staff in the office. So it's been about 4 years.
Just to kind of, and I don't mean to take over, but if you go to page 17 and like the fourth line from the bottom, 106,544 professional services. Last year it was budgeted at 80,000 for AccuBase. This year it's at 15,000. So there's justification. Just to kind of, I know that's what you were going at.
And then just the last line that I like to call out for that would be the last line, page 18, 106,569 vehicle maintenance, with the selling of the older Ford Explorer, Explorer, right? Yeah. The selling of the 2014 and replacing with the newer vehicle, we dropped that down by $3,000.
And it is, this is our quad year, going into our quad year, so there's going to be a lot of extra work. So kind of budgeted and looked over the last 2 quad years, knowing that my staff is probably going to have to work some overtime to get the work completed for what we have to do by statute. So
We took a look at the numbers of the last 2 quad years. So we budgeted according to how much overtime is billed in those years and built that into the budget for this year. And it's not going to be in every year because it's a quad year. That's why it went up.
I am expecting a little bit higher this year, or asking for a little bit higher, but over the next couple of years, I would expect that I'd be back down to between 2 and 3% increase versus what I have this year.
Okay. Moving on to the transportation department, which starts on page 19. We do see a reduction in revenue with the elimination of the Little City transportation. But we did increase it slightly with the increase in fare rate. And Jessica can go a little bit more into that with what we've been trending when she gets to her report. That's really the only thing I had for transportation. If there's any questions. Okay, going to page 21 starts. This is where things might get a little bit funky. 108 is the new parks fund. As you recall, we're looking at consolidating parks from its own separate fund and incorporating it into the general town fund. So we're moving our projected revenues into the corporate fund versus continuing to feed in an effort to draw down the parks account. The one thing I do want to call out is we still have for 108, 41002, the youth parks agreement. Those are the contracts with the Flames, baseball, and soccer. We haven't finalized those rates yet, so I just plug in what we currently have, but those numbers are subject to change. And then you'll see a bunch of zeros here and until we get to the end of page 23. So we are projected to draw down the Parks Fund completely at the end of the year. So we are expecting some parks expenses to have to come out of the corporate this year, but these numbers are they're placeholders for how much money we think we're going to need from parks by the end of the year. So that's not to say that, so when we get to the Parks Fund, you'll see like the capital improvements is zero there, but if we have a capital improvement expense before the fund goes to zero, we'll mark that to a Parks expense. This is just to help keep it clean versus, so. Any questions about that? Doug?
Other than historic expenses, are we going to address at some point their participation?
We will.
Yeah, I would, when we're ready to make expenses, we can talk about how much we're willing to cover. But if
So just to give a little background on there, we asked them for their finances as well because it's a separate 501c3. And so Doug and I have been working with them just to make sure, again, best use of taxpayer money.
Okay, so if you go to the middle of page 24, you see the net of revenue and appropriations. If we expend all of our budget for Town Hall, we're looking at a carryover of
24?
The middle of page 24. Net of revenue and appropriations, we see a projected carryover of $1.3 million. That's again the basement of what that carryover will be, and that's if we spend all the money from the other budget.
Can you define what a carryover is?
Yeah, the carryover is essentially the fund balance at the end of the fiscal year. So, because we're not budgeting the full amount of money in our bank account. So what we're saying is, we're projecting in our bank account to have $1.3 million to start funding for the 27-28 fiscal year.
And originally, last year, we were projecting we had a carryover of 1.8, 1.9. So we're keeping our budget down at a 3% increase, our spend at a 3% increase. We're continuing to draw down on our...
Yeah, and that difference now is we're expecting to have expenses out of the Parks Department, which at the end of last year we didn't have any. So, we've levied $0 in parks over the last few years, anticipating this change. And so this will be the first year in which park expenses will come out of corporate. And I apologize, my page breaks here are terrible. Fund 2 is the EAGA fund.
What page?
Still on 24.
Okay.
We increased our levy over last year from 20,000 to 70,000, and that is in part because we have anticipated an expected need for our EAGA fund, and also one of our health and wellness employees, Betsy, her salary, also half of her salary comes out of the EAGA fund, and historically we haven't been taking any of her benefits, the health insurance benefits, out of this. And for best accounting practices, we're going to do that going forward, so we needed to increase what we levied over last year.
So, curiosity question, is this SOIF eligible for this fund, or does it come out of our town fund, the 20,000? I mean, just going forward.
Yeah.
Can we levy? Is that something we could include in our levy?
I would say yes. Initially, without looking into it too greatly, I would say yes, but even if we could, I would strongly advise against it, based off the health of the EAGA account versus what's in general account. Okay. I'm sure we could make the case that this could be an eligible EAGA expense, but I wouldn't want to do that, and we can get to that in a second.
Because why?
Because if you look at what our projected fund balance
is going to be way low, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't want to...
Not this year, but I'm saying going forward.
If we don't get grants, you mean?
Yes.
To fund it?
Yes, well, that's a good point, too.
Yeah, so worst case scenario, assuming it's $20,000 in just a year that we earmark for this, I'm assuming, based off the recent EAGA law changes, that it opens it up.
I agree, but yes with an asterisk.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. A big one.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yes.
Thank you.
you can see now, for the first time, we, on page 25, 20509, health benefits, we have been taking, that's Betsy's health insurance that had historically not come out here. So with our projected spend, if you go to page 26, you can see net revenues and appropriations. We're looking at projecting to carry over $1,900. So I wouldn't want to put a $20,000 expense.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying perspective.
Yes. In theory, yes. Okay. So now we go to the general road fund. So on page 26, here's our projected revenues from the municipalities that we serve as the.
So what's going on with North Barrington? Why are we down 40,000?
Things have just been slow with the cold weather. We haven't been doing any work outside for them. We got a lot of work coming up. We got a lot of work coming up for everybody.
So we're going to end up with 21,000?
That's.
So was there something anomaly in this fiscal year that they won't be doing next year?
No, not really. I mean, we had, last year the weather wasn't as bad as it was this winter, with the cold weather. You can't put signs in the ground. You can't do any of the tree trimming that we need to do. It's kind of just like,
But looking at line 300-410-04.
Yeah.
We're projected to spend $62,000 in.
We're supposed to get that.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that
We're
what
supposed to
you're
get
right? So why?
$62,000. Why are we only going to collect $21,000 in the upcoming year?
Like I said, it's just a matter of the business that we have, the work that we have for them when they call.
Right, but in the previous they did $60,000, and now we're dropping it to $20,000. It doesn't make sense.
It's like I said, it's just about what we have happening at the moment. We've got your question.
Well, yeah, just like we've been budgeting around like 21,000 for like the past 3 years, so it's not necessarily that our budget revenue has gone down. It's just that they're consistently overshooting it.
Yeah, like why? So if we were budgeting 21,000 and 20,000 in the year, 24, 25, why are we projecting 62,000 in income this year? I'm looking at it like we've basically tripled what.
Yep, and because this is a revenue, we can put in 50,000 in projected revenue. I mean, that's.
Well, I guess I was looking at if there's an anomaly, some project we did for them this fiscal year that generated $30,000 or $40,000, it isn't going to happen next year.
No,
there's no one-time hit.
No.
And we've increased our rates, so this doesn't make any sense.
That's a big drop.
Yeah.
So maybe we should increase that.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, Mike and I can look at that. We'll for the budget.
Yeah, I think if we looked at it and said, here's what we did, right? And Mike, if you think, this one we're not going to do next year.
Right.
I mean, we have history. We could pull it from the past 5 years. Past 2 years showing $60,000. I mean, so just maybe take a look at that one again.
Sure.
Same Kildare, right?
Same for Kildare.
18,000 less, right?
Yeah, we just, after Mike and I discussed, we just, for those two, we just put what we budgeted for revenue for this year. With just generally the mindset being we want to under project revenue and over project expenses, right? So now, how close? Should we be closer? Probably.
Yeah.
So yes,
we'll talk about that again.
Okay. We'll look at that. Yep. Okay. So going to page 28. The one. Let me get these. I'm sorry, I didn't have it on my sheet. Where did we get that? So these expenses are for the, just so you guys know, that salary is just admin. Every other highway employee comes out of the perm road fund. So,
And we're increasing her salary by 14% this year just to make her within equal of all the rest of the support staff. And we're changing her title to office manager because she runs that office. She's not just admin. She runs that office, and it's putting her in line with every other staff member in that position in the other departments. So it was a large increase, but it's to put her, and she's also been here 10 years too, so she serves every penny of it, in my opinion. So it's evening it out, making sure it's fair along all departments for the work she's done and the comments we receive. So that was a much larger, but it's to put her on par.
So I didn't have anything to point out for the administrative side of General Road. However, I did want to point out on page 30, 304,563, vehicle and heavy equipment. We reduced that out of the General Road Fund, and we reallocated that expense to the Permanent Road Fund in an effort to help reduce how much we needed to levy out of the General Town Fund, or the General Road Fund rather, which is where the municipal reimbursement comes into play. So just in practice, we've been trying to move funds from General Road to Perm Road, and so this is one of the ways that we did that. So when we get to vehicle and heavy equipment on the Perm Road side, you'll see an increase in.
So sorry, 4 is page 30 is which fund?
This is General Road.
General Road.
And then there's 2 departments within General Road, administrative, and I can't remember the top of my head what the other.
Okay.
But so this is all under General Road.
So on 304,520 building maintenance, we're bumping to 50,000 from 15. And generator maintenance, is that the generator community center?
No, that would be at the highway department.
Okay.
It was 50 this year too.
Yeah, we're only projecting to
We
spend.
only spent 15,000.
Yes, but we don't. This is one of those maintenance lines where we don't know if something happens with the generator. We want to make sure we have.
Well, it's not just the generator; it's the entire complex.
Yeah.
We already spent 22,000 more for the well and the pump. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And
Remember, these numbers are from October. They're not current.
But just to be clear, I thought we were looking to reduce things out of General Road and put them in Perm Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
So building maintenance, that 50,000, do we want 50,000 in General Road, or do you want to shift some of that to Perm Road?
Yeah, so we can't move all funds to Perm Road. It's the type of expense, which is, and if you ask anybody in the township what the difference is between Perm Road and General Road, they couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But I do want to take a step back, and if you go to operating supplies, the line right above 304,562. When we attended the TUI meeting, we got some updates in terms of what we should be doing to be OSHA compliant. And so that's the $5,000 increase from the $4,000 that we budgeted to $9,000 for next year.
Okay.
Good question, and that's just why we can't move some of the stuff out of General Road.
Anything else in the General Road Fund for you? Okay, then starting on page 32, we move to Permanent Road.
Just go back 1 second. When we're budgeting these villages, I'm questioning the revenue. I'm assuming these expenses have been reduced accordingly too, to match what we're anticipating. So if you come back and say, oh, this should be higher, then our expenses should go up too. Or what?
So there is a village equipment line item that is like, so if we do work for the village of Longer, we buy 2x4s, right? Like that's an expense to the township that then gets reimbursed to the.
So the bulk of our expenses is payroll.
Correct.
Right. And that's going to stay.
Right.
Okay. Fine.
And we added the additional service fee and things we purchased.
Okay.
Which is new this year.
So materials isn't going to be that big.
No.
Big of a difference. All right. Okay.
Plus, we're raising our labor rates and our equipment rates.
Right. Okay.
Back to page 32.
Back to page 32, unless there's any objections. 32 will start our permanent road. We levied $1.7 million, hoping to receive all of that. Okay.
Sorry. General versus permanent. You've got all the income from the other villages coming into general road, but that's the fund that you're looking to reduce a bit and put more in permanent, correct? So why are we putting the revenues in to general if we're trying to reduce the general expenses? Why wouldn't we start to put the revenue into permanent road? Or at least split it? Does that make sense?
Isn't that the one fund that is where the villages all get a percentage out of it? And so that's why they were trying to combine it into the other one?
So to your point, Kelly, that's a great question. Which sitting here right now, I don't have an answer for.
Okay.
Instinctively, I want to say, so historically that's where the revenues come from, and so, but does it have to? That's the question I don't know.
Okay.
And we'll.
Great thought-provoking question.
Yes.
Sorry.
We'll get back to you.
Let me look more into that. That's a great question.
That's like asking us what's the difference between general and permanent.
That's what you
Yeah,
said.
I get it.
Yep.
It's just at some point you're going to have those numbers come down, and so it probably makes sense to maybe start to split revenue between the two. Okay.
Okay.
What page around 32?
We're on 32. So if you look on page 33, 400,563 is vehicle and heavy equipment. You can see, as I mentioned previously, we moved funds, expenses rather, from general road to perm road, and there's where that money is. Okay. So as you see last year we budgeted 10, we moved that to 50. And then the only other kind of point out for this permit that I'd like to show, the next one rather, is on page 34. Stormwater, 400,582. That $550,000 is the Park Valley grant project that we're, and I guess now's a good time, instead of doing it when I get to my report, I'll just talk about that now. You guys in your packet should have some information regarding the Park Valley project from DECO. So if you look, we had a cover page basically just introducing what the DECO grant is. If you flip it over, where you in the top right corner, you'll say unfunded. Okay, so this project, the Park Valley Drainage Project, is currently unfunded with DECO. Back in 2021, when we had first applied, we had projected the overall project cost to be $339,000. DECO funding needed was we asked for all of it, and then there was a match requirement, and so they had requested, or they had noted that we would pay $35,990. So the target construction year was 2027. The project we can see here was approved through DECO. It's just currently unfunded. If you look under status, it says $62 million remains to be appropriated to Lake County from the state. So if you go to the final page where there's a map, you can see a list of all of the unfunded projects yet to be approved for funding from Lake County. So how the process works is the state will allocate a portion of that 62. They don't do it all at once. So for the sake of argument, I should say the state provides Lake County $20 million. DECO will then look at the remaining unfunded projects and say, okay, we have $20 million. What projects score the highest, and we'll give the money until we get to the $20 million. Then the DECO needs to wait for the next disbursement from the state before, the next $20 million. And then, okay, so what's next on the list? So I don't know where we rank amongst these other unfunded projects, but we're in here. So the money is coming. Is it in 2027, 2028, 2029? We don't know. Again, this would be the township would need to pay for the project, and then we would be reimbursed through the county. So we need to budget the full expense of the project, and then we would get reimbursed up in, we would get reimbursed up to the approved grant expense. So,
But because it was 4 years ago, the expense was probably up, so would they give us more money?
No. So our local sponsor match is going to end up being higher. So the $550,000 that you see budgeted is just what we're projecting in today's dollars. What this project would cost us.
So this has been, this project is just the bane of my existence since I was a trustee 4 years ago. At some point, this project is going to need to be done, and we can't just wait on this grant. Hopefully, it doesn't become something. The money is there in case we need to act on it. But we're just kind of just holding off until we hear from something. I've talked to Gaywell. I've gone to Lake County. I've done everything I possibly could to see, and there's just no timeline. So at one point, the money is there if something needs to happen, but we can't start it if we want this grant.
Exactly. So we budget for it in case the board makes a decision. You know what? We waited long enough. Let's just go for it.
If we have to do something.
Yeah.
So just to explain it to you, I've done a lot of research on this. I know you love it. Love it. That's that. Okay. Any questions on that? All right.
And then next, if we go to page 35, 586 is the salt and de-icer. Mike, do you want to?
I can take that one and explain to everybody. So, we're going to be placing our salt order tomorrow, the 26th, with Lake County. We'll be ordering 850 tons of salt like it shows on our budget. Lake County will be putting the salt purchase out to bid March 26th, with the bid letting taking place April 14th. When we receive the acceptance letter stating that we accept the price and the supplier, by signing that letter, we are guaranteeing that we will be purchasing at least 80% of our total order, which is 680 tons. Last year we paid $89.55 a ton. I'm assuming there's going to be a 5% increase in the price this year, so we'll be at $94 a ton. And we will also be ordering 9,000 gallons of liquid de-icer for $11,000. So when me and Ted were tossing around this number, we thought it'd be a good idea to bring it in front of everybody because it's, how do you want to explain it? It's not...
Yeah, so
we're committing to spend the $80,000.
Okay. So we could have, if we had a mild winter, we could end up with a salt inventory.
For next year?
Yes.
Correct. We'd have to take 680 tons.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no putback to Lake County saying we don't need all this 5 back.
No. You were committed to take at least 80%.
And we're over budget this year because of the winter we've had.
When you say over budget, so we've had to buy more salt than what we had initially purchased.
We
Because
are...
they're from October, so we don't have the
Yeah,
numbers.
we put our order in this year for 750 ton, and I think we're at like 770 right now.
So we buy a little
Don't quote me on that. We're pretty close, but if we do need to order some more, we'd be...
So Mike, what happens with that? We sign an agreement for this at $94, whatever it is, and then we run out.
You are locked into that price at $94. at 80% all the way up to 120%.
Okay.
Great.
And then over 120%, they will raise the price once we get the acceptance letter after the 14th of April.
Okay.
Yeah, everything will be documented, what the price goes up to if you need to take more than 120%.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on that?
And finally, for Prim Road, 4-00600 capital improvements. As the comments reads, we are looking at doing spending $719,000 for the road improvement plan for next year. The one thing I did want to point out, though, is we're still waiting on truck 2. That's supposed to come out of this fiscal year. However, we're not 100% sure that that's going to happen. So these numbers might need to change because we budgeted, it's in during this year's budget, but we didn't account for that expense for next year. So if it's looking like we're not going to get it before the end of this fiscal year, we'll have to make some modifications to the capital improvement line based on the timeline of when we'll get that truck. So, okay. Okay, so going to page 36, this is parks. The only revenue you see from parks is the interest income. Because we're not putting any new money in there, but the interest earned on money that's already in parks, we have to keep in parks. Can't.
Sure. So why are we using $5,000?
Sorry?
What's our actual?
Yeah,
Zero?
No, it's not zero. I didn't include that. That was an oversight. I didn't include that. It's my fault.
We'll have a new budget to you with updated numbers by Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There wasn't really anything in parks I wanted to just discuss other because again, part of these expenses, just in general, this account is going to look very wonky in the upcoming year because funds, budgets are going to, expenses are going to come from different places at different times, and so if you look on page 39, you see a negative $14,000 projection. That won't happen. We'll spend down until it gets to zero, and then once it gets to zero, we'll expend out a little bit. Okay. So then, final is cemetery, starting on page 40. Again, we're trying to spend this down, so we didn't levy any money, and I have to update that number. All of that revenue is reflected for the cemeteries in the corporate fund.
So we're not going to pay the cemetery board?
Yeah, so that is what we had discussed previously, but we were making a change. So we would, in the potential, the proposed budget, you'll see the salary for the 600, 500 instead of 11.5, that'll be 13,000. And then Lauren and I just a little bit ago talked about.
So the salary for the cemetery manager, proposing to increase it to 13,000 from 10,000. The amount of work he does, I'd like to do it more, but I think just being fair, it would be 13,000 for this year. And we would continue for one more year at least to pay the cemetery board for your reduced rate, $750. So combined, so it's $250 per board member.
So are they all cashing their checks then?
I'm not sure I see a strong reason to do the 250 now and then this year. I don't see a strong reason against it, but why do you think we should do that?
I don't think we should pay them.
Right. No, I understand the idea. Get it to zero, but I'm curious that immediately while I do the...
Well, we could have a board vote on that at the next board meeting. Would you like the board to look for that?
Well, I mean, in theory, that would be a part of the discussion for the budget, so I don't know if we would need a separate vote.
Don't we need to, if we make a non-paid position, don't we need to have a board vote on it?
Yeah, I think you do.
I'm talking about if we reduce it from 500 to...
No, we would just...
Oh, if we just... Yeah, then that would result... Then we would have to bring up those resolutions, yes.
Be a voluntary board.
Got that on the agenda for me?
No, I think just reduce it this year.
Okay.
We're going to be changing some things, but you'll hear about that in the cemetery report.
Okay.
So we'll have some updated numbers for you by Monday, and we'll have them printed in color for you here, so you don't have to present that. And there'll be some work through stuff. Let's have it by next Wednesday, by the meeting. You know, we'll be here anyway, so we'll have some Wednesday update numbers for you. And if there's other questions you have about line items and the salary of the people. Okay, so, all right. I think we've finished that. Any other questions? Always feel free to call, stop in. Number 7, updated from elected officials. Trustee Glass, do you have anything?
I mentioned before about going around to Eagle Drive and talking to the residents there. I'm planning to do that again on Friday when it's going to be warm out and free this week. And aside from that, we had a very productive meeting at Health and Wellness.
Thank you. Trustee Sands?
You just heard more on the audit proposal.
Yes. Trustee Zettler?
I don't have a report.
I
I don't have a lot. I mentioned it in my board report last time, but we're coming up on elections, the primaries. Bird is starting the week out that we are not an early voting site, and either at the library. The more that word gets out that it is at you are, and that would be awesome. We're trying. I believe there's a post on the webpage, and we're trying to get that message out.
There's a QR code on the door on a flyer so that if people walk up and they think they can vote here, they realize they can't, they can scan the code and then they'll be directed to the closest place.
As a reminder, any Lake County resident can vote at any early voting site. So as far as the general primaries, that we are an election day site here. So the equipment is going to be delivered on Monday, March 16th. They have not given us a time. They've just said between 8 and 2. So Deputy Clerk Case will accept that delivery. About a week before Election Day, so sometime next week, I think after the week after, they will also contact Jessica, and they'll set up a time to come in, set it all up, finalize the setup for everything. They give us a map. If anyone's ever voted in this room before, you know how that's going to be set up. On Election Day itself, I will be here before 5 to let the election judges in and get them all organized, and then it will be open until 7 p.m. Anyone in line to vote at 7 o'clock p.m. if there's anyone, they will be allowed to vote. And then I will be back to make sure everything is locked up tight and everything's secure, and then they pick things up within the next day or two, correct? And that's that. Polls open at 6 a.m. and they close at 7 p.m.
We'll also for the primary?
For the primary, and just Election Day in this location. And again, anybody can vote anywhere on Election Day as well. You do not have to vote in your traditional precinct polling place. If you're here, you can vote here. And many of you voted here.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay. Trustee Barrington?
So I did hire new staff members, Andrew. He came to us from the village of Antioch Water Department. department. It's working out great. He is an Army veteran. He's younger. He's very motivated, eager to learn. He is going to be going to train with the field people at Grant Township next week for 2 days to kind of get a little more educated in the role of field person. So I'm excited for that. I do, like I said, we are preparing for this year's assessments, but mainly we're trying to get ready for next year's project. It's a lot of work. I did receive the abstract from the county recently, and I am pleased to report that Gila Township is, out of 18 townships in the county, we are number 3, and our township has a, speaking in market value, because that's what people understand, we have about $10.5 billion in value that I am responsible for valuing in our township, which makes us, again, number 3. We are, Vernon Township is number 1 in terms of value, and then Libertyville Township, and then us. Libertyville Township is just slightly above us.
How much of ours is converted?
I think I put that in my email to you. I want to say it was only about like 3 or 4 billion. The majority of it is residential. However, that is something I'm looking to change because that's a big shift in how taxes are paid. And we have a lot of high-value commercial properties in this township with Deer Park Mall, the old Motorola, things like that. And so I'm going to be not being aggressively going after those properties, but making sure that they are paying their fair share, because most of you being taxpayers here in the township all know that a lot of the rent has been placed on residents having very unfair increases.
Hence hiring a commercial assessor.
Correct. That is one of the reasons I really want that guy. So I don't want to do it.
Okay, anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay. I've spoken enough today, so I don't have any report. Department head, administration.
I can never speak enough. Just 2 quick updates. Here at Town Hall, we have experienced an issue with mice droppings in our basement. The lower basement is worse than upstairs, but we had our pest control company come in and do a review, and it got pretty bad. So we had to call them to come in special. They'll be here next Friday, March 4th, to help. The 6th to help.
You got that 4th stuck in your head.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, exactly. So they'll be here to clean out and sanitize that issue. And then we've been experiencing some pretty major connectivity issues with the internet over at the community center. So we had to kind of purchase a new switch, and that's going to be installed tomorrow morning.
That helps.
Okay, anything else?
No, not
Okay, thank you. Cemetery and transportation.
So cemetery, we're going to be scheduling a meeting with the board sometime in March. And then we have one full burial at Lake York Cemetery in February. And then we have one slot sold at Fairfield as well in February. And then for transportation, I'm hoping to have the punch card program rolled out probably by the board meeting, I think. And due to our fare increase, revenues have gone up 27% from February of 25 to February. February of 2025 to February 2026.
Has there been a lot of pushback at all about it?
None. People are actually the opposite. They are, it's about time. You've never done this. They value the service and they are willing to pay the increase.
Great, thank you.
And they're also eager about the punch card program too, so I think that's going to go really well.
When are the new hours starting?
They already had. They did January 1st.
Any questions? Thank you so much, Jessica. Can you sign?
Yep. So, connectivity issues, as I mentioned, hopefully we'll be resolved tomorrow. We have a going generator project. It's late. Generator project, waiting on night court to schedule something with people in Hamilton to come out. They no longer work Mondays and Fridays, so it has to be Tuesday through Thursday, and so we're giving a couple days.
Because they have to turn off all the power, so all the programming will have to be shut off that day. That's a challenge.
Yeah, but they get off by 3 o'clock, so we should be fine with it. We give them a couple days, but we get them back.
Thank you. And just with the connectivity with their new phone system, that's why it's in so that we have the connectivity. It's very outdated, so that's why an emergency purchase had to be made. Yeah. Thank you.
It's 10 years old, whatever this terminal that
Yes.
mentioned.
And 10 years old means a lot when it comes to technology. So, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to keep this real short. My big ones are the dental clinic, which I already talked about. Love it. Super excited about it. And the exterminator. Thank you, Jessica, for calling them. And she got on them, and they came, and it was good because it was getting kind of bad. So those are the two really big things. We are going to plan another blood drive for May 21st. But the things that we're doing. I can always say that later. And March 18th, we're going to be involved in a family resource fair at District 95 at high school. You guys going? Okay, cool. We'll see you there. And we got a couple of trainings coming up and a couple of programs we're excited to start. But once we get those on the ground a little bit more, I'll share a little bit more detail.
And also just wanted to thank Jessica for finding the new pest extermination company. That they are really working well with her and saving us money and hopefully getting us. They're finding
thorough and
very thorough.
Totally different than working experience.
Can I ask who you're working with?
They're called OPC Pest Control.
Okay, Highway and Parks.
We already talked about salt. Just wanted to touch a little bit. We got Smelton came in and repaired our well and pump. And we've got noticeable improvement in our water pressure. It's unbelievable. The guys are having a hard time washing their hands in the bathroom because there's so much pressure. New truck floor is getting decals and radio put in. We expect it to be finished very soon. And once we take delivery, we'll take pictures of the old truck floor and send it off to the office for approval. And we're also experiencing issues with our phones. So we still got to get the kind over there to see if they can do something with our internet. That's all I got.
Okay. Does anybody have any for executive session this evening? Okay. And our next town meeting will be on June 5th at 4 o'clock. So we have the board meeting, the special board meeting on the 4th. The regular board meeting is on the 11th, just a reminder. And we don't need a motion to adjourn, or do we? Okay, so can I have a motion?
Second. All right. Trustee Black?
Yes.
Trustee Ziegler?
Yes.
Trustee Sam? Yes. Supervisor Wolf?
Yes.